Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and we have a fascinating new knife from Cavol Knives, the Cavol Knives KAMASU. I'm probably butchering that, but that's how I think it's pronounced, KAMASU. And then it is designed by TIGUASS. I'm probably butchering that as well, but I've had many of his designs on the channel, and you know, I've always liked a lot of his designs, and here is his design logo. Now, this knife, I'm normally not a huge fan of Persians, but this one is really cool, and this is why. Look at the handle where it's at, and then look at the blade. The blade arcs down and then comes back up, which if you guys have heard me in the past talk about Persians, that's the best way I think they can be done, especially for an EDC knife. Because it arcs down, it makes it to where you don't have to go all the way up here to get to the tip, because if it didn't arc down, it would pop out here and go all the way up to like up here. So you don't have to go all the way up there. You can literally do a utility cut from down here, so you're not gonna lose tons of leverage. Yeah, you're probably gonna hit a little bit of the belly, but you can easily do utility cuts with this thing. Now, it's not gonna be, you know, as good a utility as maybe a sheep's foot or a Wharncliffe, but you can do it. Now, the blade shape is more so like a self-defense type of blade shape. It's very pokey. M390 steel, 3.7-inch blade. Beautiful, beautiful blade too. They did a good job with it. Then we have a titanium frame lock that has overlays and inlays of what looks like carbon fiber, some type of marbled carbon fiber, and good access to the lock bar, as you can see. The titanium mill pocket clip slides in and out of the pocket really, really nicely. Titanium backspacer. Now let's talk a little bit more about this blade shape, because I want to explain why it's awesome and you know how it could be awesome, because it is more of a self-defense knife. That's the way I look at it. Of course, you could use it for a regular EDC, but the blade is going to be really good for poking, right? Then in the reverse grip, it's going to be pretty good too, because the blade goes up. So this tip, it's kind of like if you think about a Bowie knife. So a Bowie, the way you fight with a Bowie is not like this. Let me back out. You don't do it like this, right? You do it like this. You turn it around this way. And the reason why is because normally a Bowie arcs up right here and the tip is up a little bit higher. This thing's like 100 years old. So, you know, but it is sharpened back here. This is a sharpened spine. But not all Bowies had to have a sharpened spine. And the reason why you would still turn it around like this is because it hawk bills basically to where the tip is up here. So when you hit something, you're going to actually get a lot more distance with your cut, and it's going to snag and tear whatever you cut rather than rolling off of what you cut. So if you hit it with the tip this way, it's just going to roll through. But if you hit it this way, it's going to stab in and tear through, even if it's not sharp. Now, just to give you an idea of what I'm saying, it's kind of like this. If you turn this around, right? See how this kind of bows up a little bit? If you hit with this, it's going to tear in, especially if it peaks up even more like this one does, or like, you know, a lot of Bowies do. So it makes it to where you get a lot more distance in your cut, and it actually can do a lot of damage going backwards. Now, obviously forward, you know, it's going to be more of a roll cut, so it's not the most deadliest blade shape going this direction, but it still will work and still will cut, especially with a sharp edge. But poking is going to be very, very pokey. Let's talk about this action. You see how the blade sits all the way inside the handle, so you can't get to the holes in the blade, but the front flipper does angle a little bit sideways to give you a nice good platform to apply pressure, and it pokes up nice and high above the frame or above the handle, so it's easy to snap out there. You could do the reach around, reach over with the side of your finger, you can go over the top, and it's easy to do with the thumb. The jimping is really good jimping, nice and catchy, so you're going to catch on it, and it goes up nice and high, so very easy to snap out with authority. And like I said, since it has that angle, it makes it to where you can kind of just put your finger on there and roll it right around. So if you're not the best at front flippers, this is an easy rollover one. You do have to break the detent, and then once you break the detent, you can follow it all the way around until lockup. Lockup is nice and solid. It locks up with authority. Really good lockup. But ergonomically, man, this thing is a, an ergonomic dream because of the way it basically fits the shape of your hand so nicely, and it looks cool. It's something different. I'm happy to see Cavol doing all these different knives. Like, they're so unique and so different, kind of like the Cavol one. The cage, I think this thing is so cool. I think it's pronounced a different way, but it's spelled cage with a K. I forget how it's pronounced, but anyways. But yeah, this was another one I really liked. I thought this one was really awesome and different, and that's what's cool about Cavol knives. These are very well done, very well built, fantastic action, and, great fit and finish. Now, I'm not sure exactly the heat treat on the M390. I do see on their site, it says the blade, the coated ones are, I think, 62 HRC. So I'm guessing it's between 60 and 62 or 61 and 62. I can't confirm that. I haven't gotten them tested, but that's just is what it is. Without, testing it, you won't know. So, but, they are claiming that, at least as far as what the coated blades go. As far as the hardware goes, we have T8 hardware all the way around. I do like their decorative pivot. Looks really good. The clip is screwed in from the inside, and so there's no movement at all. Nice and solid. The inlay covers up these the cutouts for the lock bar, so that's nice and smooth in and out of the pocket. So if I was going to bring up a couple negatives, the one thing is that you do want to be careful not to slip out of cuts. Now, this is the best case scenario as far as with a Persian because it leans forward and down, so it is going to trap materials, at least to some extent, but it's still a Persian, so it still has the tendencies to slip out of cuts because it's all belly. So, it's just something to know when you're cutting, to have control. As long as the knife is nice and sharp, you should be able to trap it pretty good without it slipping. But, if the edge gets slick, it will be slipping out of cuts. And as far as that goes, I can't really come up with anything too bad. The sharp control and plunge grind could be better. I'm not a fan of that, the way it plunges right to the edge. So that to me is a big thing. I think they should have just made this up to here so that there was a separation from the end of the plunge grind, because the plunge grind starts here and it ends right at the edge. So when I sharpen this, it's going to create a smile back here. There's no way around it. It's going to do it. So if this was just cut out just a little bit farther, which I suppose you could always do yourself because it does have internal stop pins. So, but it just is what it is. The only other little thing is T6 on the steel lock bar insert. It's not that big of a deal, but I prefer T8s. I do like how inside the box they give you, the box is so awesome, and it is really good packaging. They give you extra hardware. They have a thing for moisture control. They even give you a little fragrance packet or whatever, like a little scent thing to smell good. So lots of stuff inside this box, and the box is nice and durable, nice and solid, very robust, which I do like because you can just stack them up and you don't ever have to worry about your knife getting hurt in any way, shape, or form. So lots of good here. I will have this linked down in the description for you guys, including everything else from Cavol Knives. Until next time, peace.